everybody, welcome to this video.
Hi.
That's my son George. Over the last few weeks I've been posting a lot of travel vlogs to the channel and it's been great. I have had so much fun doing them, and from the comments and messages I've been receiving, people have been enjoying watching them. Folks are saying do this more, you know, travel vlogging is what you should be doing, which is great except that we are currently under lockdown. We're under a stay-at-home order in Ontario. I can't go anywhere. So, okay, if I'm going to be a travel vlogger, we're just going to have to be traveling around my neighborhood for the time being, because I don't really have a lot of choice. I am shooting with a selfie stick that is new. I am lousy at selfie stick shooting, but I'm going to give it a try. Hopefully I'll get better as I do it more. And we are going to go for a walk, me and George. We're going to go for a walk around the neighborhood, just following our usual route. We're going to have a little bit of a chat as we go. It is nighttime, so I don't know how much you're going to see, but you know, you'll see my neighborhood in the dark anyway, so let's get going. So I bought a new ring light to use for my videos, and it came with this nifty little ring light that fits onto my phone for selfie shooting. I don't know how the picture on this video is going to turn out. It looks a little blurry to me, to be honest, but you know, the truth is that my eyes are not as great as they used to be. So it could just be that I'm not wearing my glasses, but I am going to see if I can improve the focus. Just give me a second here. If the quality is lousy, I just won't post this video, but maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. Anyway, the state of the lockdown in Ontario is actually kind of laughable, mostly because nobody actually knows what the hell is going on. We have had lockdowns, and then there was this weird color-coded system where part of the province was in the gray zone and part of the province was in the red zone, and you know, all these different color zones, and then we were back in lockdown, and then we had a shutdown, and no one really understood what the difference was between a lockdown and a shutdown. Then we went from the shutdown back to the lockdown, and then we had something called the emergency brake. And it seems like it's all just the same thing, just with a different name. So, I don't know. It's been 13 months that we have been in lockdown in some form or another. If you want to know about the state of lockdown in Ontario compared with the state of lockdown in other parts of the world, this is it. We are under a stay-at-home order, so we're only allowed to leave our homes for essential purposes. Fortunately, going for a walk for exercise counts as essential, so I think we would all go stir crazy if that wasn't the case. And then obviously we can leave for things like buying groceries, getting medication, seeking medical care, you know, like taking the dog to the vet, all that kind of good stuff. The schools are closed for in-person learning, so everything is virtual right now. At least this time around, things seem to be a lot more organized than they were the first time the schools went virtual. Both of my boys are having virtual classes with teachers from their own schools, and they're with people they're familiar with, and you know, it's a lot better. They are both anxious for this to all be over. George in particular is so desperate to go back to school. He is missing his friends and his teachers so much. For George, this pandemic was a challenge right from the start because he didn't understand why his world was suddenly turned upside down, why he suddenly couldn't go to school, he couldn't see his friends, he couldn't see his teachers, he couldn't have any of his regular routines. It was very confusing for him, very stressful for him. He has connected getting the vaccine with being allowed to go back to school in the fall. And, you know, he's been phobic of doctors and needles for his whole life. He absolutely hates it. Every time he gets a standard flu shot, it's like fireworks. This kid has to be physically restrained. And it's traumatic for him. It's traumatic for everybody. You know, nobody likes to see their child going through so much stress. But when it came to the COVID vaccine, he started to actively ask for the vaccine because he is that desperate to go back to school. And there was a vaccine clinic at his school a couple of weeks ago, and George and I both went. My husband already had an appointment at the hospital for that same day for his vaccine. Do you want to go straight or do you want to go left?
Straight.
Okay, we're going to go straight. So my husband had an appointment for his vaccine on the same day. It's just the way it turned out coincidentally. So George and I went to his school for the clinic there. Both of us got our first shots. And I went through the whole rigmarole of warning the doctor and saying, listen, this kid just hates needles. He might explode. He sat down, rolled up his sleeve, got the jab in his arm. He didn't even flinch. He was totally fine. He was so good. I was very impressed. In fact, I think he took the shot better than I did. 3 of the 4 of us are now vaccinated with our first shots. James is just too young. He is 15. He'll be turning 16 at the end of the year. So the vaccine is not approved for kids his age yet. We're hoping that'll change really, really quickly. George, you having a nice walk?
Yeah.
What's on your iPad? Show us what's on your iPad. Oh, that's George's highway video. So when we go driving on the highway, George makes his own dash cam videos, and this is his work. It's pretty good. Nice. So one day we will actually do a vlog while we're driving on the highway. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that someday. Press the button, buddy. Okay, so we're waiting for the light to change now. Can't really see much of what's around here. So Canada is in the thick of the 3rd wave right now. Let's go, Georgie. Ontario in particular is not doing very well in terms of our COVID numbers. Although I believe we may have peaked in the 3rd wave, but don't quote me on that. It's really bad. The hospitals are at capacity. Hospital staff are on the verge of having to choose who gets a bed in ICU and who doesn't. And that's a terrible situation. But, as bad as it was here, earlier today I was looking at a news report coming out of India, and holy baloney, are things ever bad there. I feel so bad for the people of India. So according to this news report, in Delhi, they have someone dying of COVID every 4 minutes. Someone who works at a crematorium said that if things get any worse there, they're going to have to start burning bodies on the side of the road. How awful is that? I am heartened to see how countries are sending aid to India because, they so desperately need it. So I really hope something can happen there that'll help them get this situation under control. The world is tired of this. I feel like we're at a very dangerous stage of the pandemic now because more and more people have extreme pandemic fatigue. People who have always been so strong on the social distancing and the mask wearing and following the science and being as safe as possible about this. A scary number of them are now saying, I don't even care if I get COVID. People just want to be done with this. People are starting to not care. I feel like we've reached a dangerous point in any crisis when we become that desensitized to it. People are dying horrible deaths. This illness is absolutely cruel. And people are starting to not care. And that is probably scarier than anything I've seen. Want to show us again? Tell us where that is. The 401? Where on the 401?
East.
401 East. Thank you for showing us, George. I really hope we do not become desensitized to the point that everyone just stops making the effort. As bad as things are right now, I do feel like we are over the worst. more and more people are getting vaccinated. The vaccine rollout in Ontario has been somewhat disastrous. I consider myself extremely fortunate that me and 2 members of my family got vaccinated fairly early on. Wow, there was some heavy duty lightning there. But 3 of the 4 of us got vaccinated early on, relatively early on. It'll be a good few weeks before we get our second shot, but, you know, we'll take what we can get. But I do feel like we're over the worst. We have a way to go. This journey is definitely not over. We have a way to go, but I feel like we're over the worst, and we need to just hang on for a little bit longer. We cannot give up. We cannot stop caring. We cannot stop taking precautions.
Oh, can I see tornado?
What, George?
Can I see lightning?
No, when there's lightning, we gotta go inside. Okay, press the button. And George just pressed the button for the lights. So that mosque that's right behind me there used to be a Chinese restaurant. It was one of the oldest restaurants in Toronto. It was called the Silver Dragon, and it was there for decades. And come, George, I guess about 15 years ago or so, they took the restaurant away and they turned it into a mosque, which is an interesting change of function. It means parking is a little bit of an issue sometimes, but, you know, it's all good. We are fortunate to live in a relatively quiet pocket of the city, and we live in a cul-de-sac, so we don't have high traffic. Occasionally someone will drive down the road, realize that they can't get out, and then just go around the circle and drive out again. But all in all, it's a pretty nice neighborhood to live in. All the traffic is on that road behind us. I'm looking forward to getting my pajamas on, pouring a glass of wine, chilling out for a bit before I go to bed. So that will be it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed our little walk. I'll take you on a walk with us during the day sometime when you can actually see. Because, you know, all you got to see this video is this ugly mug. So I'll take you during the day sometime so you can see more of the neighborhood that I live in. In the meantime, stay safe and healthy, everybody. Keep wearing the masks, keep practicing that physical distancing, even if you've received the vaccine. Stay safe, keep yourself safe. Please don't get sick with this awful virus because it's horrible. So we're going to say goodnight. We'll see you in the next video. And we're getting one last look at the highway.
Live your best life and be kind.
That's right. Live your best life and be kind. Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.